All right, this is Coach Hall. As predicted, the NCAA has settled its case that would potentially have bankrupted them and put it into the institution as we know it. If you recall, they had 3 cases pending: the NCAA versus House, Hubbard, and the last case was Carter. And all in all, just the House case alone, the NCAA was faced with $4.1 billion in payments. So what they have decided to do was settle for 2.7 and agree to have the member institutions for the first time pay its athletes. And that is a boon for the athletes, but when you start to look at the figures, it's really a big shot in the arm for the NCAA. And as it stands right now, that $2.7 billion is going to be paid out over 10 years. But as you recall, I told you before that the schools had already started putting away up to $20 million as a buffer against any potential losses in a lawsuit. So the $20 million that the institutions are going to have to start paying athletes with, they already got it. And if you recall, the TV money that's coming in now from all these different conference alignments and agreements are through the roof. So where you may have an unlimited amount to make some money as an athlete, now you're going to be capped. Each institution only has to pay up to about $20 million per year. That's all athletes, not just football players. So when you start to do the math and break that up, it's really not a whole lot there that you could have had. In other words, the NCAA is paying out a lot less than they would have, and as always, they have found a way to keep the majority of the money for themselves. Now, the only thing that can kill this deal is if the judge, who's going to start looking at this case and could take several months to approve it, she can shoot it down, and the athletes could opt out and join other lawsuits. Being how greed is a part of our society, I can see a whole bunch of athletes opting out of this deal and joining some other lawsuit. Now, the problem with that is, if you join another lawsuit and opt out, then you won't get what's been awarded now. And the thing is, people that used to play up until 2016 are going to get back paid on this particular deal. Doesn't help guys like myself that played years ago. We won't get a cent for that, but I wasn't looking for anything, but it would have been great if it had reached all the way back to when I was in college, but we're not worried about it. We signed that deal and we lived up to it. But these new kids are going to get paid behind this deal, and anybody up to 2016 is going to get a piece of that money. So sometime at the end of this year, after the judge approves the deal, a lot of people are going to get some money they weren't expecting to get. But each institution is only going to have to pay out about $20 million a year to the athletes, even though it's something new for the athletes that they can get paid now. But that's really a drop in the bucket for all the money that's going to be coming in. And once people sit down and realize what's really taking place here, some of them are going to be upset. Like I said, all week with the case with the Florida A&M and this guy that's suing University of Florida coach Billy Napier, you got to get the money in your hand before you can start counting it. And people, when they see these numbers, they start counting just like in other cases, but there's no money in hand. Now, what they need to do is get a handle on this fraud situation where people are promising you all these different numbers, but when you get there, they pull the rug out from under you. And at this point, there is no legal downfall to do so. So when this guy is suing Napier, you can bet what's going to come out of that bait and switch stuff is going to go out the window. And as well it should. But at the same time, if you're silly enough to sign a deal and go for it without getting any money on the table, then you get just what you got. So that's just the way it goes. But that's just an update on what's going on with the NCAA. So if in case you missed it, the NCAA had 3 cases going on: NCAA versus House versus Hubbard, and the other case was Carter. And all those cases Had they lost all three, we probably would have bankrupted the NCAA, and the college sports as you know it would probably be gone. This case, you don't know, this is sports for real. I come on every morning, give you my opinions about what's going on, try to update you on major things taking place like this NCAA settlement. Also, in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, I told you that the Celtics a couple of weeks ago was the best team in the East. And the Pacers, after upsetting the Knicks, they were going to ride in with this wave of emotion, which they did in Game 1 and made it competitive. But I told you, as the series went on, those scores were going to widen. And last night, it started to widen. They lost by 16 last night. So unless the NBA step in and starts telling the Celtics to let the Pacers win 1 or 2 to keep it competitive, this series is going to get worse. So they lost by 16 last night. Expect the next 2 wins to probably be about 20 points. But that's basketball for you. Still counting down to when it's over. And when it's over, you have the Tour de France, and you have the Olympics going on at the same time. And then after that, training camps open up. And then we can watch some real sports around here for the next 6 months. That would be great. But anyway, I go to work. You all out there have a great day. This has been Sports for Real.